All right, guys, that was a terrible loss. That was awful to watch if you're a Jazz fan. If you're a Timberwolves fan, that was, a win, and it was pretty good. There are a few things I wanted to talk about the Timberwolves. I'm not a big Karl Anthony Towns fan. I think he's a great shooter. I think he's got some nice offensive skill, but it's just there comes a point where, at a certain point, if you're a max guy, you've got to help your team win, and I just don't know what he does that makes you a better team, that helps you win. By the way, we're going live tonight because I'm out of town and I don't have access to my computer, so we're doing this on my phone. So we can talk tonight a little bit. Let's just chat. Two-part goat. Hey, James, tough loss. Yes, very tough loss. That was painful to watch for me. I don't know about you guys, but that was painful. Yes, Fidel, that sucked. But I just want to say Anthony Edwards looks legit to me. If he can pick up where he started with his athleticism, his ability to score the ball, he is a fantastic player. Pain is all I feel. Yes, pain. Hashtag pain. Pain, period. All the pain. That 5-second violation, that sucked. But you know what sucked worse than the 5-second violation? The 2 missed free throws by Donovan at the end. And that bunny of a layup that Bojan missed at the end. I mean, it was like a 4-point loss for most of the game. If they make those things, it goes in. Conley with the bad pass that goes the other end for 2 points for the Timberwolves. Just bad stuff. Conley getting beat by Ricky Rubio. So many plays that could have gone for the Jazz that didn't. So, rough loss for the Jazz. But like I was saying, Anthony Edwards looks legit. He looks like they need to be starting him. I honestly don't know why he wasn't playing more, because he was a big reason the Jazz lost this game. Him hitting the shot. I know D'Angelo Russell will get a lot of the points for this, but Anthony Edwards was a stud. And he's got all the tools, guys. Size, strength, athleticism. He can shoot the ball. It looks like when he is getting shots in the right situations, whether it's spot-up threes or open shots or buckets to the hoop, he's legit. And so that's looking nice for Minnesota. I just don't know if the core is going to fit, because you're still playing with Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, and I don't know if you can build a good enough defense around that. But the offense might just be that good, so we'll see. And they've got guys like a Kogi that does really well on the defense, so maybe they just have these strong wing defenders that can make them good enough, because offensively they should be pretty good. Gobert was overpaid because it's a small market. Now stop asking. He still had a good game. Gobert was probably a little bit overpaid, but not by that much, honestly. He helped you win games. This game got really close when Gobert came in at the end. He had a rough night because of foul trouble. If Gobert's not in foul trouble, what happens with this game? Probably a win. There were so many different situations where Utah should have won this game, but it's not Gobert's fault the Jazz lost. The fault lies between Bojan, Donovan, and Mike Conley, basically. I think between Donovan and Bojan, they shot 9 for 39. Or I don't know if that, I saw that on Twitter, and it's just it was terrible. I think at one point the Jazz were 36% from the field, 26% from three. That's terrible. And yes, sorry, I missed the name, but 19 turnovers. That's correct. That is also the reason we lost. Utah lost this game because guess what? First quarters matter. When you come into the game, the first quarter matters. You have to play just well from start to finish. You should not have to get the juice in the fourth quarter because you're behind and it's coming from behind. You should start playing hard from the beginning. Defense wins games, and you've got to play defense from start to finish. And stop turning the ball over. I mean, there were just so many lazy turnovers, guys. So many lazy turnovers. And at the beginning of the season, this is the time of year where you're getting a team like Minnesota, who likely is not going to make the playoffs. They're going to be playing their best ball because they believe they can make the playoffs right now. And guess what? They're 2-0. You can't play like this like you're playing against a bad team at the end of the season. Every team is given 100% at the beginning of the year because they still have a shot. Let's see, Nick Atkinson. Donovan looked like he was trying way too hard all game and didn't calm down. I agree with that a little bit. He was taking bad shots, but none of the team looked very good tonight. Bojan did not look very good tonight. Just didn't. And the Jazz just did not take enough threes, to be honest. Honestly, when you have a bad shooting night like this, if you're shooting 37% from the field, bomb the threes. Because they just count for more, and it's just simple math. And you know what? If you shoot 30% from three by the end of the night, you're going to make up a lot of points. And the Jazz just lots of bad turnovers, guys. Donovan's still figuring it out, but Conley wasn't much better, and he had some rough turnovers at the end of the game. Clarkson I like as a sixth man. Venice Estepa, he is like a bucket getter. But I just don't know if defensively he can hold up for a full season as a starter. Plus, I just don't know if he's enough of a facilitator. I like Jordan Clarkson as a bench guy who comes in and gets buckets. That's just like the perfect role for him. And he dang near got the Jazz back in this game, with his shooting. Clarkson's not a great facilitator, though. You want Clarkson to shoot the ball. But you also don't, Clarkson's one of those where he's a perfect sixth man. That's what his role needs to be. This game showed, I think, why Derek Favors is so valuable, because Rudy Gobert got into foul trouble, and you were able to play Derek Favors more tonight and kind of make up for that. It just sucks that the Jazz perimeter players just didn't have it going. You know who I want to give a shout-out, though, who did play pretty well, in my opinion? Royce O'Neale. That guy, go look at his rebounding numbers. That guy is turning into a legit power forward, and his rebounding is fantastic. His rebounding is becoming pretty legit, and he is playing all over the floor. He is versatile as heck, and he's showing that he can guard multiple positions and rebound the ball and shoot a high level from three. So I feel like we're seeing a little bit from Royce that I really like. Royce had the lowest plus minus in the game. I sometimes think that you should look at plus minus in terms of if you're like the main point of attack, because Royce O'Neale was on the floor with Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley for a lot of the game. So that means your plus minus is probably not going to be good. But Royce was good tonight, guys. Royce was solid. He was playing really good defense, and he moves the ball when he's on offense, and he was rebounding the ball. It's not Royce's fault that he's, Rudy was in foul trouble, Donovan can't shoot, and Mike Conley's turning the ball over. That's not Royce's fault. He is playing a role, and so he did really well. Donovan just had a really bad night. Really what it comes down to. Donovan had a really bad night. Rudy Gobert had foul trouble. Derek Favors was like fine. He wasn't like dominating or anything, but like people will say things about like that's what it kind of annoyed. And tonight, guys, let's just chat a little bit. But I get annoyed when people get on people like Royce or like George Niang or these guys that play like either like a complementary role, 3-and-D shooter, or like small, very niche roles, like George Niang shooting threes off the bench. Like, when people get mad at those guys, it's like, well, why? Because a lot of their performance is based off of your best players, like Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert. Like, their play is based off of those guys' play. So if they're not playing well, that's more about your main playmakers than it is about them, Just remember that. Like, don't get mad at role players, And honestly, this tonight was an annoying loss because the Jazz were obviously the better team. They honestly had so many chances to win this game, and then they just have dumb mistakes, like a turnover here. Donovan Mitchell misses 2 free throws in a row at the end of the game. Mike Conley misses a free throw. Jordan Clarkson misses a free throw. The turnover at the end of the game with Mike Conley, that was just killer. Bojan Bogdanovic has a point-blank shot at the rim, misses it, just rough stuff. And, you could also say, well, if they got, like, a friendlier whistle, I think the refs were fine tonight. Like, they weren't good, but they weren't, like, there's nothing I can look at and be like, wow, that was really terrible. Mike, it's okay, still early in the season, Minnesota ain't making no playoffs like usual. That's what sucks is to lose to that team. The Jazz should have won this game. It's all good, guys, Jazz Nation all day. Bad night, it happens. Pretty sure the guys know that we need to regroup and get done. Yeah, and I agree with that. You hope a loss like this like ingrains in the Jazz, but it shouldn't take a loss for the Jazz to realize, hey, if I want to win the game, I can't come out in the first quarter and play like dog do. I can't do that. Jordan, and I've seen all the comments. Jordan Clarkson slipped. Sure, he did. That sucked. Mike Conley probably should have slipped out when he sees Clarkson on the ground. Mike Conley needs to get to the ball and get open because the inbounder had nowhere to go. So Utah needs to learn from this. You would hope that veterans like Rudy Gobert, and you know what, Donovan Mitchell, this is like his 4th year in the league, 5th year in the league, I can't remember. He's been around the block. So you shouldn't have to have losses like this to Not maybe the Blazers were trash. No, I think the Blazers are good. I think the Jazz are really good. That's why this loss sucks, guys. Because Utah is really good, and their offense and defense has a chance to be really solid. And they screwed the pooch. You know, they played badly. Not a lot else to say. It's a depressing night, guys. But guess what? This is game 2. It's not the playoffs. It sucks to lose to a Minnesota Timberwolves team. And by the way, there's the reason we have 7-game series, because sometimes you have bad games and lose a game in a series. And sometimes you're just going to lose to the Timberwolves, who, to be honest, have some nice talent. You know, they have some nice players on that team. And they just played better than the Jazz. They just did. And despite the Timberwolves playing well and Utah playing terrible, Utah almost won that game. So it tells you a lot about the Jazz and what they can be. They just need to stop playing. No more turnovers and play better defense. And that's what they'll do. Let's see. I feel like you guys are fighting. I feel like the fact that the Jazz played so horribly and we're still well within the reach, it just disappeared. The comment disappeared. But I think that's what we're both saying, guys, is that they could have won that game and they played terrible. The Wolves played really well. I think that tells you the Jazz are a good team. Guys, I don't have a lot else to say. That was depressing. That was frustrating. I do think the Jazz are fine. They'll be really good. I still think the Jazz are going to be a top 3 seed in the West. But if they play like this, they will not be that. So they need to figure it out and turn it around, because it's a short season. You don't have a lot of time to figure these things out. You just got to go and win. So, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.